JJ Spaun's final putt, 64 feet, 5 inches, the longest putt by any player on any hole this week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another BestBall Roundtable. We are just minutes removed from JJ Spaun winning the U.S. Open in an incredible, almost a contest of survival. Got David Kirsch and Jonathan Hill here. Mr. Decker is on his way to play the Lido, so he is missed, but he is excited about what he gets to do tomorrow. So before we jump into it, many thanks to our friends Beadraddy, Zero Restriction, Fairway and Green, all the good folks at Summit Golf Brands. We really enjoy working with those guys. Use BestBall20 in any of those websites. You'll get a little discount on your order. And also our friends at Western Birch for the golf tees. Jonathan and I are about to be scattering a bunch of them all around Pinehurst, the home of last year's U.S. Open. Jonathan will do his full Bryson impersonation on the 18th from the bunker. But many thanks to Western Birch for the goodness that they do everywhere. So, guys, raise your hand, and I'm not going to see any hands go up if you had Mr. JJ winning the U.S. Open.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
Plus 12,000 to start the week.
I was hoping somebody would have that number. Plus 12,000 to start the week. How about that? I said in the little intro, like a survival contest, right? Like, what was the lowest the score ever got to? 4?
4 under.
6
Did
on
it get to 6?
Thursday?
6 under on Friday, I think. Thurston Lawrence got to 6 under Friday
That's
afternoon.
The Open guy that had a flash, what, last year or 2 years ago? Thurston Lawrence? Yeah.
Yep.
So it got to 6. It finished at -1 from an incredible. And Kirsch, I told Jonathan, I got the Elias Sports Bureau. They're opening, or they're continually right now adding more and more facts. And here's one. His final putt, JJ Spaun's final putt, 64 feet, 5 inches, the longest putt by any player on any hole this week.
Yep.
What a way to do it. What a way to do it. He also had 401.5 feet of total made putts, so he had the most in the field. Second, Mr. Robert McIntyre, who is just off the lead there as well. So, what, Kirsch? You said you watched a lot of it. Give me your thoughts on the Open.
Oh man, there's a million directions to go. My head is trying to organize all of my thoughts, whether it's about the course, the tournament, or the champion himself. But I think that's where it ultimately has to come down to. You know, the U.S. Open is the test of golf. It's mental, it's physical, it's everything. And I was workshopping this over the last 15 minutes as we were getting ready to record, and I really believe, and we've talked about Eli on here, but I believe that golfers are the sum of the moments that they live, and that all of those things just keep adding to that number, and they add to that total. And I couldn't help but think in March there was a rain delay in the middle of the back nine for JJ Spaun and Rory McIlroy at the Players. And so we were driving and trying to get back to the house, so that we could get up and record on this. And I had Eli looking up some things. Going into the rain delay, Spaun had only made bogeys on the day on Sunday. He'd fallen out of the lead, fallen back. He was trailing, and out of the rain delay, here he comes back, resets, has a 30-foot putt to win on the last hole, doesn't get it done, goes to the playoff. But that was a moment, that was something that he could take and that he could build and he could build and he could build. And then coming into today, for anybody that watched, and I'm sure everybody did, he hits the great shot on 2. Like, okay, you're going to get your bounce back birdie here. Gets one of the worst breaks of the century and has 48 yards coming back after hitting the pin. That's how bad of a break. Then on 4, I think he hits a rake, and it, instead of, could have kicked it in a million directions, and instead he's swinging like a baseball bat. And one of the things Eli and I and my other son Noah, we were sitting there watching it. He never slammed the ground, never slammed it hard, never threw a club, never said woe is me, never, not even, I mean, they had the cameras on him. They showed nobody had more golf shots shown on the front nine than JJ Spaun. Now, it's because he took 40 of them, but nobody had more shown than him. And you never saw him slam the ground out of frustration, even after a bad shot or a bad break. He just kind of, and then he moved along. And I think coming out of that, tying that back to what happened at the Players, he had the perfect demeanor down the stretch, and he had already weathered that part of the storm. And if you saw, every time Sam Burns hit a shot out of the fairway, the same fairways everybody else was playing from, he was splashing the water. You had Terrell Hatton being just the worst representation of what golf is on constant repeat for all 18 holes. You had, Adam Scott slamming into the rough even a little bit out of frustration. It broke everybody's mental spirit today, except for the guy that won and the guy that came in second. That's
Yeah.
it. And even McIntyre in his post round interview said, I talked to somebody on Friday and they told me, you got to stop overreacting. You got to stop doing this. And he said, I changed my mindset over the weekend and look what he did. He barely makes the cut and he finishes second.
Yeah, mindset's a big thing, and I know with Eli especially playing a lot. Like if that's something you can teach the next generation, like they will be far more set than the next little swing tip or technique or something like that. All that stuff helps, but you can see those guys are all really good. It's the one that mentally battled the best. A couple other stats: JJ is the third player, because you mentioned the Players, third player to finish either first or second at the Players Championship, and then win the U.S. Open that year, joining Tiger from 2000, who finished second at the Players, and the won the U.S. Open. Then Martin Keimer, who won both in 2014. Let's see what else. I saw something else. Lowest back nine score in the final round of the U.S. Open. He shot a 32. He tied for second. There's been a couple 31s, including Johnny Miller's.
Johnny Miller's, yeah.
Yeah, back in '73 at Oakmont. So he played well. There was something else I saw. Yeah. Jonathan, sorry to let you know that no lefty has ever won a U.S. Open.
That means there's still a chance for me.
They're holding out for you.
That's right.
They're holding out, and they said in reference to JJ, no U.S. Open champion began his final round with 3 consecutive holes over par. So that in itself, right? His first 5 holes, like you were describing, Kirsch, like it would have broken most people. Like it would have been,
Yep.
Put it in the bag. I'm out of here. It's been a nice run so far, but I mean, he came in tied for second after 54 holes, and just, I don't want to say held on, because he ended up shooting 1 under, but he did what others did not do. Jonathan, you watched a lot of it. What's your take?
My thing about it was I don't know if I've ever seen more 5-foot putts missed. And to Kirsch's point, after every single one, and I mean almost every single one to a person, from Scheffler to Rory to anybody, they all were like pointing and looking. Half of them seemed to be blaming their caddy. They were just in disbelief. And I get, like, if we're a regular golfer and we go out there and we're trying to read a green and we go, what the heck just happened? Like, how did that not go in? But by Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and before the rain, don't you understand this is what's going to happen? And you just have to be like, all right, no problem. I'm gonna hit the next one. Koepka, I thought at one point was gonna maybe make a run. And then one of my favorite quotes from him is that every golf shot is a bad shot until it goes in the hole. And if you have that kind of mentality, especially this week, because no matter what, it seemed if I was in charge of a company and for drivers and things like that, I think I texted everybody, TaylorMade should have turned off their driver commercials, because the pros were just missing left, right, and every other possible angle off the tee box. And the penalty for that was strokes and strokes and strokes. Like, if we miss the fairway, we just assume we're bogeying out. These guys are good enough that they're expecting up and down for par. And then also to Kirsch's point, because he makes lots of good ones, the cumulative effect of not only like your history of where you've been and what you've come up to, but also the week. And when it was over and Spaun took his hat off, I thought, that man looks like he wants to just collapse in absolute just destroyed mentally, physically. He's wet. And then he's got to be on TV and act like he still wants to like see his kids and family. Like I'm sure you do, but at that point you're also just so exhausted. So
I think you take your hat off after making that putt and know you just won the Open. You don't feel any of those things anymore. You're
I don't
not
know.
tired. You're not
I
tired.
don't know.
You probably immediately dry off. Like I think it's like I think it's just one of those most refreshing feelings in the world. Like holy cow, I just won the U.S. Open. So many congrats to him. What'd you take of the course conditions? I know we kind of talked about that in the preview show, but the course played tough. You talk about missing all these putts. Yeah, it's sometimes the putter, but sometimes it's just really hard.
I,
Yeah,
the
I think they're really cool graphic. We pointed it out today. They showed Hovland's tee shot on the first hole. And on Thursday, his tee shot was about 95 yards further than it was today. On Thursday, it was also in the, or Friday, it was also in the fairway and it was about 80 yards further, or 75 yards. So, like, you could see the progression in his tee shots where they were all in the fairway on one, just how much softer and longer the course started to play throughout the week. Obviously, it would have been great to see how firm. At least we got Thursday and Friday of it getting firmer and firmer before the weather came in. I thought, but at the end of the day, they've had 13 inches of rain, I
yeah,
think, at Oakmont since April 1st or something crazy like that, or May 1st even. They said it's the most that Allegheny County has ever received in like a 45-day span, and they played the U.S. Open on it, got it done on time, and there were no mud balls. There was wet balls. There was a lot of casual water out there for a minute, but there were no mud balls. There was nothing squirrely with that. Yeah, but everybody had to play from it, and the course. At the end of the day, the course said who's playing the best this week, and Jonathan said it. He made the most amount of putts this week. The guy that made the second most amount of putts finished second. You had to get the ball onto the green, and you had to go from there and make the putt. So, I think it held up and did what it exactly should do every 7 years.
Yeah. Do you would you guys? I know we talked about this before, and a lot of people talked about what would a scratch golfer, what would a 20 handicapper, whatever, do on there. Would you guys want to go play it right now?
yes,
Yes, 1,000%. You
100%.
couldn't.
Yeah.
1,000%.
You couldn't. I'd play it left-handed if that's
I
what they required.
it as dry as it was on Thursday and Friday. I if you're like me, I'm 50. I'm a 19 handicap. So if people are talking about 10 plus or 15 plus handicap, I'd have to start putting from 100 yards out. Like that would be my 100. I would absolutely start putting from 100, maybe 150, because I mean, what was it on the first day, first group out? The guy hit an eagle first two on the first hole in like 30,000 rounds, and I
Maxwell
would have been putting from
Moldovan.
everywhere.
He's a Buckeye.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, you mentioned putting off the green. Like you might hit a lot, like JJ, like you referenced earlier, Kirsch. Like you might just be off the green after hitting the green a long way away. So,
Yeah,
yeah, who
and
knows?
but you could see the difference. You saw it with Spaun and even Terrell Hatton. As much as I can't stand Terrell Hatton on 16, compared to Adam Scott and Burns. Like that was a really hard shot. It was a really, really hard pin. And Hatton had 8 feet for birdie. And those guys were completely just behind the eight ball after their tee shots came up just a little bit short or just a little bit right of that pin. So if you hit the shot, Oakmont will reward you. But there is
Yeah,
a steep price to pay if you take the shot on and you miss.
yeah. Well, they were also at the point where they had to make some ridiculous shot, and they just, like Jonathan said, most golfers, every shot that's not in the hole is a bad shot, so they just did not execute exactly when needed. So, rolling through the top 10. So we mentioned JJ Spaun, McIntyre, Victor Hovland, another close call for old Vic. He played well, and he's probably kicking himself now. I mean, 3 shots off the lead, but he finished +2. Cam Young +3. Terrell Hatton +3. A couple other names, Rahm and Scheffler, snuck in there at a +4. So they have a tie for 7th with Sam Burns.
Wikipedia 10.
There you
That's
go.
right.
And then tied for 10th. Ben Griffin, Russell Henley, and then we get Xander and Kepka at 12 with some other guys. So kind of a you know, if you look at this list, I don't know, years from now, you're like, man, that was a fairly loaded leaderboard, and JJ Spaun won it. But it
I think he let a lot of guys off the hook today. There were a
what,
lot of people who had stories written about them about not being able to get the putt in. You know, people were calling it Chokemont. There was there's a Adam Scott 79. There's the Sam Burns 78. Victor missing every putt that he had to have. You know, there was a lot of stories that could have been written. Nobody else was going to get to one under today in those conditions. So
yeah.
by distancing himself from them and getting to one under and kind of separating it out and making that putt, it's probably let a couple of those guys off the hook from what could have been, a coulda, shoulda, woulda. And there's Scotty Scheffler, if he makes that, yeah, I think he had 10 feet for birdie on 11 today and walked away with a bogey. That's puts him at +1. That changes, or +2 at this point. That changes everything for everybody on the back nine.
Well, I mean, even this show right now, when Spawn's ball made the green, I'm sitting here thinking we've watched a lot of putts this week. That is not just a gimme two putt. And the only thing that probably helped him the most was the fact that he got a read on it, right? They say show a pro a read and he's going to hit it every time. So he was able to see speed. I mean, boy, was it 2 feet behind him or something like that? But
Yep.
what if the other guy gets closer and now he's got a blind read from that side? I was thinking he could bogey this hole without a doubt. I mean, that wouldn't have been a shock, and then they would have been playing 2 or 3 holes tomorrow morning.
Yeah. But he nailed it.
He did
One
nail
thing
it.
about Scheffler and the Elias stats here, and, we talk about world number one, best golfer on the planet right now. He's failed to break par in any of his last 9 U.S. Open rounds, dating back to the final round, 2023 at L.A. Country Club. That's kind of crazy. We need to make this note for next year when we're picking these things. Like, maybe we don't do Scotty. I don't know.
To be fair though, even almost won the whole thing. So like not breaking par, he 70 in the last 2 days. So I mean, one hit, one miss. The Open, just gosh, I don't know how they. I mean, can we talk about people throwing things? Can we talk about folks breaking things in the locker room? And
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to get to, and we can chat about it now for sure. Like, in contrast of Spawn keeping it together, and handling his business and playing well to win it, Jonathan, a lot of people got frustrated, broke things, and did the wrong stuff, right?
I think there should be penalties. I don't know if there should be a level where you're automatically disqualified, but there should be penalties. If golf is the gentleman's game, and these are the professionals, and this is what kids are going to be watching and seeing and stuff like that. And I've played with the good kids in our area and watched them throw stuff, and I think you're not that good. Like you're not Rory good, you're not Scotty good, and yet here Rory smashing tee boxes. He's throwing clubs, not a short distance. I think I'm a baseball fan, so I watch all the umpires and the coaches yell and scream at each other, and I think this is why children are terrible at Little League and coaches at 12U are the way they are. It's got to be fixed in golf too. It's got to get fixed. Like there has to be an answer for that.
I think I saw it on Twitter. Somebody put it on there. Like I've been watching a lot of NBA playoffs, and I'm fairly certain that Tyrrell Hatton is getting close to a technical foul at some point here, and and he's unbecoming. Like I'm over all of the Tyrrell Hatton stuff. Like he misses a putt by. I mean, we're talking like I think it was the second hole. He missed it by 2 cups out to the right. Like he aimed at a cup right, and it broke right, and he's sitting there like he just got jobbed out of the worst possible situation. Like, dude, you hit a bad putt. Just
Right.
go tap it in and move on. Like, there's nobody out to get you. The green didn't just move. This isn't PGL. There's no actuators under there. We didn't change it from the book that you've had and the practice rounds that you've had. So his shtick is what it is. Wyndham Clark and what he did in the locker room, and then if you take it back to the PGA, if you remember when he chucked his driver at the T-Mobile sign, and like bashed it. Came within 4 feet of just smoking a volunteer, and picked up and just kept going on, and had to, came out with his BS apology afterwards. He needs to take a break. Like it's time to step away for a minute and um, you know, collect some thoughts on some things, because it's clearly, and this is the thing that none of these guys see in the moment, but it doesn't help your game. Like none of them are playing better because they're doing that. And Rory almost lost two front teeth today when he threw his bag, well, his club off of a bag. The hard part was that he actually made it look pretty cool, but it was just like the fourth, fifth time this week where you're like, all right, man, like cool, awesome, like really happy for you, but I don't know how you can go from being the most rooted for, have the most positive things said about you, have media members openly rooting for you to win, the most glowing stories, and everybody say how awesome and thank you, thank you, thank you for everything you've done, and then come out after that and just decide, no, I'm gonna just be a total jerk. Like something has to be going on,
Yeah.
because it's all so far out of character. It's not like, once in a while thing always is going to happen and you get that pass, but we're on 10 straight rounds now. When you look back to 4 at PGA, 2 at Canada, and 4 here, we're at 10 straight rounds of just being a schmuck to everybody. And I don't know. I'm stinks to say because we were all pulling so hard, but you know, the Rory thing's gonna have to change before I, you know, start rooting for him again on a Sunday.
Well, and that's the kicker, right? What was it, Scotty? The last tournament had an actual mud ball. Like it was a problem and it could have been fixed. These guys were just throwing fits because they made bad shots, not because the course did something to them. I mean, what was it? Jordan Spieth hit that one shot and went 2 yards. Was it Jordan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's got an argument on a 2 yard crap, man. If this rough wasn't this bad, half the problems these guys had were either in the fairway or on the tee box. That's your fault. You're sucking at golf right now. Don't be such a jerk about it. And you're a pro. Like act like you've been there before, right? Like you're a pro. You get struck out in baseball, you get struck out. You miss the last game shot in the NBA, you miss the last shot. You're screwing up on the tee box. Pull out an iron and stop trying to hit it 380 yards. Like do something different, but don't do that.
Yeah. The damaging of property is what gets me, right? Like, locker room, even tee markers, right? Rory smashing a tee marker, like this, it's uncalled for. And it's just a bad example, right? Like Kersh, you just said, like, he was on top of the world, and we all, I think, picked him for the rest of the majors for the year almost. Because, I mean, and maybe this is our minds, yes, something's going on, it seems, but how do you not come off the high and relief of that and just like coast with a big smile on your face and play really well? Like to have the don't talk to the media bad attitude. The media is the problem for leaking information about the driver stuff. Like the media, they weren't involved with testing. Like somebody who was in testing told somebody in the media that. And what is a media person supposed to do? They're supposed to write a story about things they find out, right? And so just being frustrated with everybody but yourself is kind of bad. I did see he talked last night or something, and they said, "What are you going to try to do tomorrow?" He said, "I hope I can play in about 4.5 hours and get out of here." Like, you know what? Like,
Take
be
my
the
full
guy.
100.
Be the guy that finishes early in the day, plays very very bad, and then signs autographs for like 4 hours. Like,
Yeah.
you win over a lot more fans that way than what you're doing now. So, kind of frustrating.
Take my
Yep.
$400,000 and pout about it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he gets turned around, right? He is fun to watch. He is one of the most talented golfers out there. So hopefully he gets it figured out. So, um, early thoughts on the Ryder Cup. I want to ask you guys this: from based on how people are playing. I mean, is JJ Spaun? Do we need to talk about
oh,
him on
he's
the Ryder
on.
Cup?
He's on, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He's a Ryder Cupper.
Okay.
Yep. I
Like
don't
it.
see how you can't have him. I mean, he may be in the top 5 or 6 now with points anyway,
Okay.
because you get 1.5 or 2 times the points in the majors, so it's a big push. But I mean, yeah, he's got to be on. There's a problem, at the back half of the U.S. team. But I don't think Europe. I think Europe has some names, but Ludwig stinks. Fleetwood missed the cut. Lowry is missed the cut for the second straight major and has spent more time, throwing things. And I think Eli said they all look like the Fighting Irishmen from Notre Dame, except they don't know who to fight, but they're just mad at everything. And he was talking about Lowry and McIlroy on Friday, and it's just they're not as they look good on paper, but we may be in one of those situations where you have a JJ Spawn. I think Ben Griffin is going to be really, really close to making
He
this
should be on it.
team.
Yeah.
There's going to be Russell Henley's going to be there, and these are guys that are going to be happy to be there, but want to show that they belong too. And now you've got somebody like Spawn who's gone head to head against Rory, who's gone out and won the toughest test in golf this year. This isn't somebody that you're just rolling the ball out there hoping to get a point from. This is somebody who's been tested more than anybody on the U.S. team this year, arguably.
Yeah, and going to a place like Bethpage, right? Like his little cut off the tee,
Yeah.
that'll play very nice. Play very nice. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and I'm kind of curious, like, what live guys might get there now. I mean, is Bryson going to be on it? Is Brooks? He had a good week, even though he finished tied 12th. He fell off after doing really well Thursday, Friday. Would he make it? I mean, who knows?
Brooks needed to win to make it.
Okay,
Like it's not updated yet, but
should be updated tomorrow.
yeah, I'm looking to see what the Bryson will make it on points. He may fall out of the top six, but it's going to be really, really close.
Yeah,
It'll depend on what he does at Portrush, but it didn't help or it didn't hurt him that Justin Thomas didn't get any points this week. Morikawa didn't get any points this week. Um, you know, McNeely didn't get any real points. English, Novak, Harmon, Cantlay, none of those guys got points that were going to matter. Spawn's going to move up. He'll be inside the top six for sure after this week. But I think you're going to end up with a U.S. team that's got some stalwarts in a Scotty, Xander, Mason, Justin, JT Morikawa, and then you're going to have Spawn, Henley, Harris
Griffin.
English, McNeely, and Griffin, and then probably there's one spot open out there for I think Cantlay is going to have to show that he's going to have to show
Does he
some
still play
form.
golf? I don't feel
I
like I've
mean,
seen him since TGL's ended.
he was going to have a chance to make the cut, and he went bogey, 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 I think, to finish his Friday round when he was inside the cut line, went from +5 to +8. But then we're looking at, Brian Harmon, Andrew Novak. These are not long
I,
hitters. These are not guys built
I'd go
for
with Novak.
Bethpage. Burns is going to move up. So Burns is probably your 11th or 12th guy now, and then you're really picking between a Keegan Bradley, a Daniel Berger, Heath.
Yeah. Breaking news. We have Mr. Decker.
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're a little
You
delayed,
having fun?
but shout out to Delta Airlines for their Wi-Fi. I was able to watch that finish today. How fun was that?
It was pretty good. Pretty good. Delayed because of weather.
Uh, Delayed because of life. We don't know. We're not sure what the situation entails, but yeah, slightly delayed, like 15 minutes or so. So got to the gate and was like, "Hey, I'll check in with the boys and see what's happening."
Very nice. All right. What's your take on JJ winning the thing?
Uh, so I'm still hot about Sam Burns and that ruling, which I'm sure y'all probably already covered. But like, and I don't know if you've seen the video that Kyle Porter shared, but there was so much water right there, and I hate that kind of impacted the tournament. I think we probably all agree that it did in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But good for him, a tour journeyman. Yeah, it's exciting to see someone like that who's worked their way up, wasn't some kind of prodigy or anything, have the success that he had today.
Yep. We agree. We agree. Not like you picked him though, right?
Right.
Yep. All right. Tell everybody where you're going. I already mentioned where you're heading.
So the flight I'm about to board is headed to Madison, Wisconsin, and we are going to head up to Sand Valley in the morning with a customer. see the Lido, play the sandbox, and make a day out of it. So really, really looking forward to that.
Sounds like a good day.
Hmm.
We need to get them to host the U.S. Open sometime.
Oh, how about that?
See if you can talk
That'd be
them
a
into it.
treat.
There you go. Awesome, man. Well, cool. Yeah, we're just talking about maybe potential Ryder Cuppers, and based off today's result, who may or may not be there. Who would be your can't miss guy right now for the U.S. team?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, you talking about outside of auto qualifiers?
Yeah,
That's a tough one. I mean, I don't want Wyndham Clark to make the team after his antics in the locker room.
we were
I
talking
don't
about
know where
that. Yep.
I don't know where he sits in the points, but that's just embarrassing. I can't wrap my head around doing that. And then what Terrell Hatton did today on the golf course. Now, not it's not specific to your question, but can't miss right now. I mean, is JJ an auto qualifier now that he won this?
He'll move
Kirsch.
inside the top six. I think he's going to bump out at least Henley, but he may bump out Morikawa or bump Morikawa to six.
Okay. Wow. Wow. I mean, I feel like you got to have Ben Griffin, which I have mixed feelings about that, but he's playing really good golf. Um, what did you guys? What was your biggest takeaway from today?
I think kind of what we started with. Kirsch pointed out that that Spaun kept his head, and he was the only one coming out of the delay that had anything together mentally, right? Like everybody else let the elements and the conditions really affect the rest of their round today, except for Spawn.
Yeah, how about him going out in 40 and then winning the thing?
Shot at 32 on the back.
Well, and I think I texted y'all like it's almost like nobody wanted to win. Again, go back to the Burns ruling, and then it's like he and Adam Scott just got down and out, and neither one of them could lift themselves out of that funk. They just kept missing fairways and leaving the ball in the rough over and over and over again. It was like just a slow, painful bleed for the final pairing.
Coming
Yep.
into the U.S. Open, Spawn had not made a putt over 35 feet all year.
So shout out lab putters, my friend Brian Parks, who's
I
the
don't know.
VP of engineering.
Adam Scott struggled with his coming down the stretch.
Well, that's because he's broomsticking it. That's a whole different thing. We
Oh.
can talk about that at another time. But did y'all see how far JJ threw that putter when he made that putt?
Yeah, that was the first
There's
thing Eli said as well. He's going to have to get a new putter now.
Yeah, I mean he sent that thing.
Well, yeah, good pub on Lab, kind of like when Lucas Glover won a couple years back, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yep. Very nice. Very nice. Well, cool, man. We'll have fun on your trip. Play some good golf.
I will. I'm gonna try to. I'll send y'all some pictures. I just saw a notification come through, so I'm gonna hop off and check out what's going on with this flight. But you boys enjoy it, and we'll talk soon.
All right. See you, Josh.
Bye, bye.
All right, guys. As we wrap up, what closing thoughts do we have for this year's U.S. Open?
Not the Open, but thanks, Kirsch, for going to work while the rest of us go play golf on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, wish Kirsch would have been there with us. I would like to say, Jonathan, we're playing the U.S. Open course from last year, so maybe this time next year we'll be on our way to play Oakmont.
I don't know if I don't know if I'd want to play Oakmont just like, hey, let's go to Pittsburgh and have fun. Unless they move those tee boxes way up. Like if there's gold tees, like some senior tees that push it forward, maybe. My last thoughts on for the entire tournament was the course did exactly what we hoped it would do, which was push these guys to the absolute limit. Clearly, a couple of them to the breaking point, and you know, we're as golfers who aren't very good, we're always trying to get to par. In their world, they're always trying to always be under par, and for them, I think the mental test of not seeing negative numbers and seeing more squares than circles has got to be a real thing. For us, it's like, yeah, I bogeyed the last 6 holes. That's what I do every time I go play golf. But for them, that's just not the world they live in. And so to have that happen because the golf course made it that way, I think is fantastic and does exactly what they expect it to do. So,
I like it. Kirsch?
Yeah, I think it when you ask for a tournament to be extremely tough, you open it up for winners outside of what you would possibly expect, right? There's going to be more factors at play than just see ball, hit ball, and get that thing. There's actual get the lowest number. And I think if you put stopwatches on Sam Burns, Adam Scott, Victor Hovland at different points in the back nine today, you would see guys play fast. You'd see them play faster than they're normal. You'd see them get to a lie with a bad situation and either go overly slow because they're frustrated or go overly fast because they're perplexed. And what you saw from JJ Spaun was nothing outside of the ordinary. You know, he's coming down 18. He's got to hit the most important tee shot of his life, and it starts to rain, and he does it. Who didn't do it 30 minutes earlier? Scotty Scheffler when he needed to, and Spaun split the fairway. And standing in the middle of the fairway, having the same amount of water splash up at contact as everybody else who's had to hit a shot, it also starts pouring down rain again, and he puts his glove on, goes through his routine. You never see him do anything different, and he just hits the shot. And then you see, it was the same thing. It was just be in the position to make a play, be in the position to hit the shot, and then go live with the result and go hit the next shot. And I thought we wanted that type of atmosphere this week. We wanted those questions to be answered, and he did it. And he did it at the Players and just came up short. This week he didn't.
Yep. I think my big takeaway is kind of like you guys both have mentioned. It's the resiliency and survival. Right. I've listened to a ton of the Chasing Scratch podcast, and one of the things I can't remember what season it was, but they talked about putting a line on the scorecard. Right. Like if you go bogey or something, or if you have a bad front nine, put a line on the scorecard, almost start over. And I feel like after his 40 on the front, he put a line down and said, you know what, like I'm going to play a new nine and play better, and he did, and it got him a win at the U.S. Open. So a lot can be said for mental toughness when things aren't going your way, but also just the mental toughness to block out outside elements, outside conditions, things like that. Focus on what you are good at, what you're trained at, and execute. And you know what? Go play the next shot, regardless of what happens. And he did, right? He great drive on 18, amazing drive on 17. He is the fifth player in the U.S. Open, fifth U.S. Open champion to finish birdie on the final two holes of the championship. So he earned it. He earned it. So, all right, guys, a lot of fun. Another Best Ball Roundtable in the books. I guess next one will be coming to you talking about the Open. Any early predictions?
We're going to be wrong on all of our predictions.
Excited to see Portrush. I hope they get a little bit better weather than they got the first time around, and that the course is able to play super firm and fast. And but always excited when the Open goes to something outside of the rota a little bit.
Yeah, coffee golf, man, love it.
Yep.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, for Jonathan and Kirsch, this is Robbie. Another Best Ball Roundtable. Y'all have a good one.